All right, on tonight's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our generative AI course, and we're still doing our Pinecone vector database build. Let's have a look at what we went over tonight. Now, yesterday, you recall, we went over the process of bringing our Pinecone API keys over, and we built off the top of that tonight. So let's see exactly what we did. So this is what we did last night. You see the Pinecone API key will be imported over. Now, next we will import Pinecone, different than the Pinecone import we already have. Then we can call it method of it. This is how we would do that. You see import implementation on line 254. So before we start, let me show you that really quickly. 254 is going to be here. So I don't know why there's going to be two different things, but you can see here we have an import pinecone that's coming from LangChain vector stores, and then we're going to have the import pinecone here. One is a capital P, one is a lowercase p, but both of them took. So I guess it's a thing. We have two different imports for pinecone. So that's that. That's the first thing we did for the night, and then we actually let me go down some more. Where were we at? Did too much scrolling. So let's go back. Hey, how do I lose my place that quick when I was just looking at? Here we go. Here. All right, so we can go to the Pinecone documentation. Well, first, this is how we're gonna actually implement that and use that Pinecone input that we brought over is the pinecone.init. This is how we call a method. Have the API key, Pinecone API key. So this is how we call our API key once we import it over. So we're just using this to call this. As you can see, this is our key, and this is how we're calling it here with the Pinecone init. And this is the environment we're calling it to, the Pinecone API environment. I might delete this part because I don't have an actual environment. He is using, I think, a Jupyter notebook. I'm just using a regular VSC, so I don't really need this line of code. I want to see if I can just leave it out and erase it all together and just bring our API key over. But yep, so we can go to the Pinecone documentation and read over everything we have done so far and everything we will be doing concerning the Pinecone. The next thing we'll do is call this init method. And the next thing we'll do is create our index name. See if I can show you that really quickly. And this is how we would do that. So we're going to call that index equals test. This is how we're going to name our index. We're going to call it test. This is how we're going to create the index inside of Pinecone. And then we're going to pass the name. So this is the index equal pinecone.index is testing. And this is going to be our doc search equals pinecone.from text. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to sort of like a for loop for every text chunk that we have, we're going to create an embedding for it. And then we're going to use our index name to name each embedding. So that's what we're doing here with the doc search pinecone.from text. Let me show you what it looks like over here in the actual code what we took. So this is basically it right here. And then I'm going to show you where we actually created our first index over in the Pinecone website. That's going to look like this here. So you can see this is the first index we created. The metric is going to be a cosine. Dimensions are 1536. This is the host right here. You can see testing 0536 MKH. The cloud we're using is AWS. Region US East 1, type serverless. And we haven't actually used it yet. We just got it up and running and implemented. I haven't actually connected to it yet. I just created it. So it's not really doing anything. It just created and sitting here. I can delete it and reinstate it as many times as we like, as long as we don't connect. We're not really doing anything with it. So yeah, so basically we are getting things up and running and situated. I don't think we're going to be able to actually use it anyway because we're still going to be using the Open AI API. So I'm not sure if it's going to work. But this is good to know when we do start using the Huggy Face. I'm pretty sure I can pass this into my Huggy Face and make use of it. So that's why I'm going to keep following along and taking the steps. So when we do get there, I'll be able to move right along without too much hassle. But of course, I will keep you guys posted every step of the way. For now, it's the Python Poppy. You guys stay Gucci.